everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Rebecca McLaughlin-Eastham, and this week we have a show dedicated to International Women's Day with a man who is a self-proclaimed feminist, and he also campaigns for women's rights with the United Nations in the Middle East and North Africa.
I'm proudly a Muslim and a feminist and an Arab, but I'm definitely not the minority.
A little bit later, we'll head to Oman, where women are cycling their way to success in an ultra-endurance sport. But first, women and men in the UAE are banding together to raise awareness of breast cancer because the numbers are on the rise in the GCC. Salima Saeed has the story.
Pretty in pink is how these female warriors are leading the fight against breast cancer in the UAE. Breast cancer is the 5th leading cause of death worldwide according to the World Health Organization. And these volunteers are taking their message to all 7 emirates. They hope to educate people in a region where new cancer cases are projected to reach 1 million each year by 2030, according to the WHO. That's twice the amount in 2012. This forecast would give the MENA region and some countries of South Asia the highest annual diagnosis rates worldwide. Initiatives like the Pink Caravan, with its mobile medical clinics, aim to teach women and men about self-examination for early detection. Afaf Afifi is an Egyptian in her early 40s. She says this community campaign helped her cope with the discovery that she had stage 3 breast cancer in 2016.
When you think you will be die and you have three kids, it's make it for you very problem. But when I'm going for them to help me and like this, it's make it like I found it my family here.
Breast cancer is the most common non-skin related malignancy in women living in GCC countries, according to reports from the US National Library of Medicine. The 2018 reports also identified that Arab patients with breast cancer show advanced stages of malignancy at the time of diagnosis and at younger ages compared to Western countries. To understand more, I met with Dr. Huriya Kadhim, the first female Emirati surgeon in the UAE.
In North America, in Western Europe, the median age of breast cancer is about 62. So it's basically a disease of postmenopausal women. When you look at the UAE and the whole Middle East, North Africa and Indian subcontinent, it's around the mid-40s. It's a big deal, really, and we don't know why.
To find out, Dr. Kadhim is analyzing the DNA of UAE women's tumors to hopefully provide young Arab women with some answers.
There's a division of the United Nations which is striving to economically empower and improve the gender equality of women in Europe, the Middle East and North Africa. The challenges are varied and many, but there is progress being made, not least in increased numbers of women entering politics and the combating of stereotypes in the media.
Mohammad Naciri of the UN is a man making a difference for women in Arab states in the Asia-Pacific region. Under his leadership, immediately following the Arab Spring, numerous global partnerships and important gender equality law changes became a reality, as did much research, such as the economic cost of violence against women. Naciri's work in Yemen has seen him campaign for poverty alleviation and the empowerment of women in society. And in Kuwait, he was instrumental in the first election of female parliamentarians. And as one who tirelessly encourages the participation of women in male-dominated sectors and, crucially, leadership and peacekeeping roles in the Middle East, Mohammad took time to speak to Inspire from London.
Mohammad, a very warm welcome to Inspire Middle East. Thank you for joining us from London.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to be with you.
Let me start by asking you, in the context of Women's Day and as an outspoken supporter of women's rights, what regional taboo issues are a priority for you to shed more light on?
The one priority that I still continue to fight for is to bridge the gap between what we call feminism or women's rights agenda and the religious discourse. For the longest time, feminists tried to circumvent talking about religion, and religious leaders tried not to get into the women's rights agenda. And what I've been trying to do is to bring this gap closer, to see how can we in the region look into the women's rights agenda and the gender equality agenda from a religious angle.
And how do you believe the engagement of women can affect peace processes in the region, particularly in Yemen?
As we know, unfortunately, our region is home to the highest number of conflicts in the world, and we all know that those who pay the highest price are women and girls. And while women are the victims in many of the cases, and also in some of the cases, they are also the perpetrators, they are not part of the solution. We've been working for the longest time with Yemeni women, with Syrian women, with Libyan women, to have them on the table as full-fledged partners to negotiate for a better tomorrow. The Yemeni women, a few years ago, we had an excellent breakthrough because they were representative or represented full force in the national dialogue. I'm not arguing that women are better than men, hence they would create and reach peace quicker, but definitely they look at the conflict, they look at the agenda for peace from a different perspective.
Now, you proudly call yourself a male Muslim Arab feminist. Are you in the minority in the region, and if so, why?
I'm proudly a Muslim and a feminist and an Arab, but I'm definitely not the minority. There are many of us around. Some do not actually see that they are feminists while holding their faith and cultural beliefs. Patriarchy still dominates the region, and I say patriarchy not men who do not believe in feminism, because patriarchy is not only in the minds and hearts of men and boys in this region, but unfortunately it is still in the minds of women and girls as well.
Now, it's not only women that you work to engage as what you call agents of change in the Middle East and North Africa. It's men too, which has resulted in a report on masculinities, the very first of its kind in the Arab world, in fact. What were the key takeaways from that report, and how have the findings been put into practice?
Some of the main takeaways were, one, there is an intergenerational cycle of violence. Those who experience domestic violence growing up as kids either accept it or practice it as adults. The other main finding is not only women and girls do exhibit symptoms of depression because of the heavy patriarchy in the region, but also men and boys. Men and boys believe and feel an immense pressure on them to provide, to be the caretakers, to be the protectors, while if they have a shared space with women and girls, this pressure will be lessened.
Mohammad, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time with Inspire Middle East.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and happy International Women's Day.
Now, in Oman, in the domain of extreme sports, some women are giving men a run for their money. Rosie Lee Thompson has more on a competition that sees female participants racing ahead and debunking gender stereotypes.
Venturing along Oman's spectacular terrain, cyclists from across the world have come to compete in the most epic unsupported ultra cycling race to hit the Middle East. And this year, the second edition of Biking Man has attracted even more female competitors. The goal is simple: get to the finish line as fast as possible. Yasmin and Hal are two of the 12 female competitors that decided to push themselves beyond their limit.
So whilst riding the bike, I'm going to take myself to an extreme condition whereby I don't know how I will react mentally and physically. And this is what's exciting about this specific event for me.
At 3 a.m., the 79 contestants are off. The riders have up to 5 days to cycle 1,050 kilometers and climb a total elevation of 7,200 meters through the Hajar Mountains, Al-Sharqiya Desert and along the Arabian Sea to finish in Muscat. And as the clock never stops, they will have to decide when to eat, drink and rest.
I've sat down only twice and I've only had 2 hot meals and I've not slept yet. So So I'm just starting to get really tired and a lot of pain. But I'm just desperately trying to make it.
The boom in ultra-distance sports has spurred scientists to analyse the mechanics of how the body operates under extreme situations, with studies stating that women have more stamina and muscle endurance than men. So as women begin to start to enter these races, we're likely to see them win.
In 2017, Yasmin broke the Zwift distance record, pedaling 1,828 kilometers in 62 hours.
I set out to break an indoor record, and it was done by a man, and I thought, I think I can do better. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought, yeah, I can try it at least.
Yasmin and Hel ranked 9th and 10th, respectively, arriving in less than 47 hours.
One of the mantras I use for my racing, be the egg. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's not about circumstances, it's what you're made of. It kind of speaks to the grit in you. You know, you can see in this event, and more women will think, yeah, I can do that.
Well, that's all we have time for in this episode. Don't forget you can catch all of our shows online at Euronews.com. Before I leave you, here are some social media posts that caught the attention of the team this week.
British cyclist Georgie shared this photo as she became the first female in Oman's Biking Man contest to summit Jebel Shams. And American photographer Sean posted this from Jordan's Azraq refugee camp, saying he admired the bravery of the women there.